Mr. Speaker, the recent budget provided for much-needed wage increases for various groups in the community care sector. This includes those who work in special care homes, home support services, family support services, vocational services, and community residences. Mr. Speaker, the problem, however, is the wage increases were not provided equitably as planned. For example, family support workers delivering mandated child protection services receive far less of a wage increase than home support workers, $1 per hour versus $2.50 per hour. The same goes for those providing vocational services. It's clear, Mr. Speaker, that a terrible mistake has been made. All the hardworking people in the community social services sector were supposed to receive the same wage increase. Since this was a mistake, my question is, will the Premier correct this mistake to ensure these essential workers are retained in their jobs in New Brunswick? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Minister of Finance and Treasury Board.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, and thank you very much to the member opposite for the question. If there are any inequalities and mistakes along the way, absolutely we'll find them and we'll make them right. I mean, that's the bottom line. We'll find the mistakes, we'll make them right. That's what we do.
Member for Fredericton-South, the Leader of his Party.
Merci pour la réponse au ministre en face. That's good to know. I hope, though, Mr. Speaker, that the mistake will be fixed in this fiscal year, because the last thing we need is more people leaving the social services sector in our communities. But that is exactly what we're going to see if the mistake isn't fixed in this fiscal year and the inequity in the wage increases stands. If they stand, it sends a terrible message that will make it extremely difficult to hire new people and to retain existing people in their jobs. And of course, it's the priority, first off, needs to be placed on retaining staff in their jobs right now, and that requires respect and that requires cash. We're not talking about pennies here, Mr. Speaker. We're talking about the difference between a wage increase of $2.50 an hour and $1 per hour. That's fast. So, Mr. Speaker, will the Premier confirm that they will fix this mistake in the fiscal year?
The Honourable the Premier.
Well, Mr. Speaker, I think, as Minister of Finance stated, that if we found mistakes or problems in the system that need to be corrected, then we'll certainly look at that. But I would say to the Leader of the Green Party that, you know, part of looking at our wage structure here, and we've done that with a lot of the discussions with my colleagues in Atlantic Canada, to understand the comparison between different sectors, different jobs, and make sure that we are comparable. And we did that a lot in the health sector over the last few years to bring our wages in line with Nova Scotia's. We certainly have looked at every aspect in other categories, and we'll continue to do that because we want to have a wage parity with our neighbours in Atlantic Canada particularly. And so that isn't just something to do for today, but it's something we've been doing all along and making some major adjustments over the past few years in order to reflect that. And that will continue. So I'm encouraged by what I'm seeing. I've also been encouraged by what I've seen by new recruits coming into the province, new recruits from other parts of the country coming into the province, particularly in the healthcare sector. So they are looking at New Brunswick to live and work, Mr. Speaker.
The Leader of the Official